Welcome to another Presently mini tour. Today I'm back at the Art Gallery of Peterborough to check out artworks by artists who have used fibers. So paper, fabric, felting, all sorts of things like that. This is Everything Sylvia Was by Tanya Corky. You can see a chair, found chair, lamp, slippers, and there's also an audio component. So in that audio component, what you're actually hearing is the sound of a single person's voice recounting memories.
I noticed someone posted today at the anniversary of their mother how much they miss them. And I thought, as someone who lost her mother when I was 22.
What Tanya's done is collaged that sound over and over and over again, and she's actually layered on top of it the sound of her making this piece, which is her needle felting gray lint onto the entire surface of this found chair and this lamp and making the slippers from lint. Tanya's really interested in the way that memories function. So the difference between what actually happened, and I mean, we can have a much larger conversation about the word actually, but let's leave that aside for now. So what actually happened, and the thing that happens in our brain that changes it, that over time, that thinks it through, that creates a solid narrative for us that we can experience later as memory. This is the S word, and this is the R word. They're quilts made by Brendan Wolf. He's an autistic artist, and he's made these pieces really smartly using the technology of a quilt. So what he's done is put slurs that he's experienced said at him on the outsides. They're appliqued beautifully, and then on the inside though, he's got these really fun, super nostalgic, quilted backings. So he's using, and I said that technology of the quilt, what I mean is a blanket is something that we can cover ourselves in, right? We can protect ourselves, we can keep ourselves warm, we can hide. He's done that on purpose. Really smart way of articulating his own methods for getting through. This is Sick and Tired by Andrew McPhail. It's part of a larger series called Textiles, This Is Not an AIDS Quilt. Andrew's been making work about his HIV positive status for a really long time. So in that, he's been thinking about living with an epidemic and actually living with an epidemic for a long time. Here, we've got this really loud and fun declaration that he's sick and tired. Right now, what he's dealing with is being an older person, an aging person who's living with an HIV positive status. It's not something that he, going into this, thought would necessarily happen. It's great, but also can be a bit tedious, a bit tiresome, a bit annoying. What's really interesting about this decision to embroider single sequins onto a bed sheet is it's incredibly labor intensive. So each one of these is hand stitched on there. So what you've got then is this piece that took a really long time to make, that took a lot of specific single gestures, a lot of work. In the end, it kind of feels like something that you might be sick and tired of. This is Julianne Gladstone's Invisibility Cloak with poppies and magpie feathers. It was painted in 2019. It's part of a larger series called the Invisibility Cloak series, in which the artist paints cloaks and thinks about them as ways of creating protective barriers. She painted this work while she was pregnant and after she visited the medieval village in Spain where her ancestors were exiled from in 1492. It attempts to document the challenges of reconciling with history, reconnecting with the land, and healing ancestral trauma. This is Strong West Wind by local artist Jane Lovier. It's a really fun collage, not only because she's got so many different techniques in here with stitching and ripping and painting and drawing, but also she's got this kinetic thing going on. So this tissue paper that she's got in these little strips, when you're walking by it on the ramps, you can see the articulation of that strong west wind. This is Black Cloud, also by Jane Lovier. Again, we've got that incredible collage that she's got going on. We've got stitching, ripping, cutting, painting, drawing, all sorts of stuff. This almost quilty thing going on here with the rain. It's such a fun piece because the work itself fully extends past the matting. What's really smart and clever about the way she's had these framed is there's no glass. So you can really understand the tactility of that paper. So cool. Get yourself a booking at the Art Gallery of Peterborough. And don't forget, when you're here, come all the way upstairs and check out Jane Lovier's collection picks.